Today is a very auspicious day, Disappearance Day of one personal associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vakresvar Pandit. We were hearing about him some days back on his appearance day, so only briefly I will remember, because then there is another topic today, is Laksmi Vijay Mahotsav. That we'll hear from Chaitanya Charitamrita. You remember, Vakresvar Pandit in Krishna Lila, he is his grandson. Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna is son of Krishna, and then Aniruddha, his son. So he appeared in Gaur Lila as Vakresvar Pandit, and also another Radharani's Saki, Shashireka, also entered into him. That is also possible for some function. So when Mahaprabhu was singing or other devotees, then Vakresvar would madly dance. And one time he danced continuously without rest, 72 hours. And he requested Mahaprabhu, give me 10,000 Gandharvas, means heavenly singers, so that I can dance continuously. Then Mahaprabhu answered, I have only one wing like you. If I had another, I could fly in the sky. Then also we heard that Devananda Pandit, he is also one personal associate of Krishna and Krishna Lila, one sage, one scholar. So he came in Gaur Lila to give some teaching through him. What was that? Devananda Pandit was very controlled person, control over senses, mind, and very good character, and he would always, pure Brahminical, all qualities, everything, and he would always read Bhagavatam. But he played this pastime of not explaining Bhagavatam in terms of pure devotion, eternal devotion to Krishna, but to attain impersonal liberation. In that he was explaining. So one time Srivas Pandit, he heard that there is Bhagavatam class going on, Harikatha, and he came there to listen. And when he heard the verses of Bhagavatam, he was overcome with the feelings of transcendental emotions, and he was crying and shivering and falling on the ground like this. So those students of Devananda Pandit, they thought he's some sentimentalist. We are having very serious discussion here, but why this sentimentalist? So they threw him out, kicked him out in front of their guru, the Devananda Pandit. So because they did miss some action, and Guru did not stop them, then that offense entered into, he was responsible for that offense, Devananda Pandit. So Mahaprabhu was very angry with him, but because he was staying in that place where offenses are forgiven, Mahaprabhu made that arrangement that Vakresvar Pandit, whose disappearance is today, he came to stay in his house as a guest. And Devananda Pandit would serve him very nicely, and through that service, he could realize his mistake. And he could understand what is pure devotion. That is only possible by service of pure devotee and getting their grace. By their grace only that pure devotion can be awakened, so it happened. So he was regretting inside his heart, why I could not recognize, I could not do. Then Mahaprabhu, knowing that his heart is now changed, he came there to his house and he explained to him that Srimad Bhagavatam is about pure devotion. That is no any material sentimentalism. that is beyond impersonal liberation, when one realizes his eternal relation with Krishna and serves him lovingly, then certain ecstatical symptoms will manifest in such a person that is far superior than impersonal liberation. So you have to explain Bhagavatam as it is. It is about pure devotion only. So it happened because he was serving Vakresvar Pandit. And here in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Vakresvar Pandit was very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His remembrance will purify the entire creation. He is the embodiment of Krishna Prema. He was always in ecstasy, and both demigods and demons are enchanted by his dancing. Demigods and demons both are famous for dancing, the celestial, but they are enchanted how he's dancing. Why? Because he's dancing for the satisfaction of Krishna. Also from Chaitanya Bhagavan, the Lord said to Devananda Pandit, "You have served Vakresvar and have thus come into my presence." Vakresvar Pandit is the Lord's complete energy, so whoever pays homage to him attains Krishna. Krishna has made his home in Vakresvar's heart. Krishna dances in order to make Vakresvar dance. If any place becomes associated with Vakresvar, it immediately becomes the equivalent of Vaikuntha and equal to all the holy places. And Vakresvar was participating in all the Leelas in Navadip with Mahaprabhu, and later on also when Mahaprabhu went to Puri, Vakresvar Pandit would every year come with other devotees, and during Ratha Yatra festival he was in one group, maybe second one, I'm not sure now. He was principal dancer. In each group there was principal singer and principal dancer. So in one group he was principal dancer, and his disciple is Gopal Guru Goswami. You heard about him. He was a small boy. That is why Mahaprabhu used to call him Gopal. Gopal. Go means cow. Pal means one who is taking care of cow. Gopal, cow herd. And Mother Jashoda, she will call Krishna as Gopal, Madan Gopal. And gopis also they can call, it depends on that rasa. So Mahaprabhu, because he was a small boy, Gopal. But one time, one devotee came, he was habituated to always chant Harinam. But when he went to toilet, he could not stop his tongue chanting Harinam. So he had to hold the tongue with hand to stop, because he thought that is impure place, so I should not chant there. When this Gopal boy saw, he asked him, why you are holding your tongue? And he said, I'm always chanting, but here I should not because it is impure place. Then Gopal said, no, it is stated in Shastra, scripture, that whether impure or pure place, impure time, your condition pure or impure, at all times one can chant or should chant Harinam. We will not chant with Tulsi Mala inside toilet, but you can chant loudly or mentally. That is not prohibited. Only Tulsi you should not bring. So he told him, no, always you have to chant. Then when Mahaprabhu heard him speak, then he also gave him the name Gopal Guru, spiritual master, because he gave the right scriptural injunction. So this Gopal Guru became disciple of Vakresvar Pandit. Here it is. Vakresvar Pandit was the chief dancer in the fourth Kirtan Sampradaya group, whose lead singer was Govinda Ghosh. He is sometimes described as a branch of Chaitanya, or alternatively as a branch of Gadadhar Pandit. Vakresvar's disappearance day is the 6th day of the waxing moon, Shukla Shashti, in the month of Ashar, that is today. So I'm bowing down to Srila Vakresvar Pandit and praying for his causeless mercy to bestow service of his lotus feet and the lotus feet of his object of worship, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna. And today is also the Laksmi Vijay festival. On the day of Ratha Yatra, car festival of Jagannath, we heard on that day that Jagannath said to Lakshmi, I want to go to Gundicha temple. I want to make excursion to that Gundicha temple for some time. Then Lakshmi gave permission and she said, but you have to come back next day. But Jagannath did not come. So what happened then? Here now from Chaitanya Charitamrita I have to open. Here also Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then ordered Vakresvar Pandit to dance, and as he began to dance, the Lord began to sing. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was singing. Yes, for 9 continuous days, His Lordship Sri Jagannath Dev stayed at the Gundicha temple at that time. During this time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also stayed there and performed the pastimes with his devotees that have already been described. The garden of his pastimes was very large and was named Jagannath Ballabh. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his rest there for 9 days. Knowing that the Hera Pancami festival was drawing near, King Prataparudra attentively talked with Kashi Mishra. This Hera Panchami means today it is happening. Tomorrow will be the function of Hera Panchami or Laksmi Vijay. Hold this festival in a way that it has never been held before. King Prataparudra is also a pure devotee of Jagannath and also of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he told his Kashi Mishra is one intended there in temple. King Prataparudra said, hold this festival in such a gorgeous way that upon seeing it, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be completely pleased and astonished. Take as many printed cloths, small bells, umbrellas, and chamaras. Chamara means that whisk, whisk. For fanning means that is not for fanning, that is for removing the insects. Chamara. And there are in my storehouse and in the Diti storehouse. Collect all kinds of small and large flags and ringing bells. Then decorate the carrier and have various musical and dancing parties accompany it. In this way, decorate the carrier attractively. You should also double the quantity of prasadam. Make so much that it will even surpass the Ratha Yatra festival. Arrange the festival in such a way that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may freely go with all his devotees to visit the deity without difficulty. In the morning, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took his personal associates with him to see Lord Jagannath at Sundarachal. Achal means mountain or hill. Here Sundarachal means Gundicha, that area, and Jagannath temple is Nilachal, blue mountain. This Sundar is beautiful, so that is Gundicha. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his personal devotees returned to Nilachal with great eagerness to see the Hera Pancami festival, this festival to them. Kashi Mishra received Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great respect, and taking the Lord and his associates to a very nice place, he had them seated. After taking his seat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to hear about a particular mellow of devotional service. Therefore, mildly smiling, he began to question Swarup Damodar. We heard about him on the day of Rath Yatra. He disappeared that time. He is Lalita Saki in Krishna Lila. So Mahaprabhu asked him, although Lord Jagannath enjoys his pastimes at Dwaraka Dham, that is main temple, and naturally manifests sublime liberality there, still once a year he becomes unlimitedly eager to see Vrindavan. Pointing out the neighboring gardens, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, all these gardens exactly resemble Vrindavan, therefore Lord Jagannath is very eager to see them again. Externally, he gives the excuse that he wants to participate in the Ratha Yatra festival, but actually he wants to leave Jagannath Puri, that Dwaraka Puri, to go to Sundarachal, the Gundicha temple, a replica of Vrindavan. Bhuje sabye benum shirashishi pichan kotita vikulan netrante sahachara kataksham vidate sada shrimad Vrindavana basati lila parichayo Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatume. We are singing this song, how Jagannath is performing his pastimes in Vrindavan. The Lord enjoys his pastimes day and night in various flower gardens there. But why does he not take Laksmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, with him? Swarup Damodar replied, my dear Lord, please hear the reason for this. Lakshmi Devi, the goddess of fortune, cannot be admitted to the pastimes of Vrindavan. In the pastimes of Vrindavan, the only assistants are the gopis. But for the gopis, no one can attract the mind of Krishna. The Lord said, using the car festival as an excuse, Krishna goes there with Subhadra and Baladev. All the pastimes with the gopis that take place in those gardens are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna. No one knows them. Since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess of fortune become angry? It is in Bhagavatam, Lakshmi Devi, she is the consort of Vishnu, Narayan, in Vaikuntha. There, Krishna is playing the pastimes of unlimited opulence. So Lakshmi also is there as his consort, and they are doing that their lila. But in Vrindavan, it is simple surrounding. No this diamond opulence like this. No peacock feather, minerals, horn, flute like this. So Lakshmi Devi once, she wanted to enter into Ras Lila with Krishna, dancing. And she did penance. to enter, but could not. Even now she's doing that penance in Vrindavan, in that Shri Bhavan, but cannot enter. Mahaprabhu asked that Venkatabhata in South India why. He could not answer. Then he said, because that is different mood. Lakshmi was worshipping in the mood of opulence. So whenever she was worshipping, she always came in contact with Narayan. She could not take the shelter of gopis' mood. So she could not enter into those pastimes because mood is not same, not favorable for that. So here also Jagannath, when going to Vrindavan, he cannot take Lakshmi with him because of that mood. But Upanishads, we think these books, but all revealed scriptures, they are persons, they're conscious persons. Their appearance form in this world is like sound before and then book. Vyasadeva wrote. In Vedic, now this Vyasadeva festival will soon come. So originally Veda, one Veda is called Shruti, that which is heard. Brahma heard from Krishna, and those who are also who do that meditation, they will hear that sound of the Veda in their samadhi. That is Shruti. There is no author. These Vedas, one Veda which was then divided by Vyasadeva into 4 categories, is transcendental revealed sound. You can hear that sound with those spiritual ears. So there is no author. That is coming out of breathing of Supreme Lord. 4 Vedas. And this or one Veda, and that is also divided into Samhita, Aranyaka, Brahmana, and Upanishad. According to what, for what purpose? In some there is ritual, in some there are Upanishads means philosophical aspect and like this. So that is very vast. And Vyasadeva was the first to write that down. Why? Because people in Kali Yuga will have short memory or weak memory. They cannot remember. So he wrote it down. Before it was only from guru to disciple. He will tell and disciple will remember, and when he will realize, he will pass on like this. So that is called Shruti. For one Veda, or then divided into 4 categories, Rig, Sama, Atharva, Jajur. Part of Atharva Veda is Ayurveda also. And other, all for material benefits and for spiritual benefits, all is there. That is called Shruti. And then there is another that is complementary to the 4 Vedas, are the Smriti Shastra. Smriti means when someone will practice devotional service and he will realize the truth. When he will write down that in his own words, that will be called a Smriti. Shruti is directly heard from Supreme Lord. There is no author or no writer, nothing. But Smriti is someone will realize and he will write. So the meaning is same, but it will appear in this world in this way, through some writer. So Smriti is like Mahabharata. Vyasadeva wrote it after meditation. Of course, he is one Shakti-abhesh avatar, but playing this pastime. And Bhagavad Gita in insight is also Smriti. So he wrote this because those 4 Vedas are very difficult to understand for those who are not Brahmins by qualities. So for other people, he wrote Mahabharata, and same teaching is there, and also Gita inside, and 18 Puranas. This is also for easy understanding through some stories and through different characters like this. The teaching of the Veda is given. 18 Puranas, that is also very vast. Like Skanda Puran has, I don't remember, but Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses, but those other Puranas like 50,000, 80,000 like this. And he wrote 18. First Bhagavatam was also included, but short version. Then he expanded more. And he also wrote Vedanta Sutra, in which he explains the meaning of the Upanishads. Because in Upanishads, sometimes it may be confusing. Atma refers to Jivatma, or it refers to Paramatma, or somewhere prana is like a material element. Sometimes Supreme Lord is called as prana because he is the life of all, or Akash, the sky, sometimes a material element, sometimes Supreme Lord is called as Akash, present everywhere like this. So sometimes confusion. So he wrote Vedanta Sutra to explain that, and Srimad Bhagavatam is explanation of Vedanta Sutra in more clear way. So Vyasadeva, he wrote all this. No one can do like him. And that is why for every sampradaya, every bona fide guru parampara, there are, in this Kali Yuga, there are 4 bona fide guru paramparas. One is coming from Brahma, which we are in. Another is from Shiva. Another is from Laksmi. Another is for Kumaras. So for these sampradayas, 4, they must have commentary on Prasthana Trayi, 3 types of evidences. Means on Shruti, that is Veda, that is directly heard. Shruti, they must have commentary on Upanishads. And Nyaya, by logic, Shastra and logic, that is Vedanta Sutra. This commentary also must have. And Smriti. At least on Bhagavad Gita, they must have commentary. Then they are accepted as bona fide. So those who are spiritual masters, those who are guru, they have to be well versed in these 3 type of evidences, Vedic evidences, and fully fixed in worshipping Supreme Lord. So Upanishads personified, they took shelter of gopis and got that mood of the gopis, and they could enter into Leela with Krishna. Lakshmi could not, but they could. And those sages of Dandakaranya, they wanted to serve Ramachandra Bhagavan as husband, but Ramachandra said, no, in this Leela, I am only taking one wife. I bless you, you take birth in womb of gopis when I will appear as Krishna, that time you will get that service. So they also got those service because taking shelter of gopis. And Veda Mata Gayatri, that is Brahma Gayatri, mother of the Vedas, she also entered into Vrindavan, and there she became Kam Gayatri. There is Brahma Gayatri and Kam Gayatri became in Vrindavan because taking that mood. So here all the pastimes with the gopis that take place in those gardens are very confidential ecstasies of Lord Krishna. No one knows them. Even you will find in Gopal Tapani Upanishad, gopis, they were having pastimes with Krishna. And after that, they inquired from Krishna to whom we should serve food, like as a charity, as a service. Then Krishna said, Durvasa Rishi, you have to feed him. So then Gopis asked, then how we will cross this Jamuna river? It's very deep. He's on the other side. Then Krishna told them, when you will go there, you say to Jamuna, Krishna is Nitya Brahmachari. He's always Brahmachari. Then she will give way. And it happened. So then they brought so much sweet rice to Durvasa Rishi and they were feeding him, Brahmin, Sannyasi, everything, service, Vaishnav Seva. Then he said, yes, I'm very pleased with you, I bless you. So now you go back to your home. Then they said, how will we go? Jamuna is very deep. Then he said, no problem. You say to Jamuna that Durvasa never eats. Then Gopis, they are doing the pastime of being confused. They are not confused but to give us teaching. How this is possible? They were thinking, we came here saying that Krishna is Brahmachari, but he has so many girlfriends. How he can be Brahmachari? And Durvasa, we saw with our own eyes how much sweet rice he was taking. How he can say that he never eats? Then they asked him, Radharani asked Durvasa. There, that name is given Gandharvi, the prominent gopi. She asked him, how is this? Then Durvasa explained that those who don't identify with this body, they are fully realized in their real self, they cannot enjoy anything. They are not enjoyers. So I am not eating like those who are conditioned souls out of need and out of misidentification and with the desire to enjoy. I'm not eating like that. So in that way, I did not eat. And Krishna is a Brahmachari because he is also not enjoying gopis as we see in this world among conditioned souls. That is pure prema, transcendental loving relation. It has nothing to do with this mundane lust and all these things. That is of different category. So Krishna is never enjoying in that way. That is different. But Durvasa, he said, you know, so this is not so easy to understand. Here it is written, Niguro Krishna Bab Keho Nahi Jane. No one can know what Krishna is doing, what gopis are doing, unless we are properly trained in spiritual understanding, and also we have to get some proper realization of what is that, what is prema, what is love, how Krishna is serving, how they are serving, that we need experience. Otherwise we may mistake it to be some mundane thing, but it is not. It is totally different. So here Mahaprabhu is asking, since there is no fault at all in Krishna's pastimes, why does the goddess of fortune become angry? Sarup Damodar replied, it is the nature of a girl afflicted by love to become immediately angry upon finding any neglect on the part of her lover. The nature of girl. While Sarup Damodar and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were talking, the procession of the goddess of fortune came by. She was riding upon a golden palanquin carried by 4 men and bedecked with a variety of jewels. The palanquin, that means the carrier, like 4 those things and sitting there. The palanquin was also surrounded by people carrying umbrellas, chamara whisks, and flags, and it was preceded by musicians and dancing girls. The maid servants were carrying water pitchers, chamara whisks, and boxes for betel nuts. There were hundreds of maid servants, all attractively dressed and wearing valuable necklaces, because they are servants of Laksmi. Gopis, they don't have a forest flower like this. In an angry mood, the goddess of fortune arrived at the main gate of the temple, accompanied by many members of her family, all of whom exhibited uncommon opulence. When the procession arrived, the maidservants of the goddess of fortune began to arrest all the principal servants of Lord Jagannath. The maidservants bound the servants of Jagannath, handcuffed them, and made them fall down at the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune. Indeed, they were arrested just like thieves who have all their riches taken away. When the servants fell down before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, they almost fell unconscious. They were chastised and made the butt of jokes and loose language. We have to understand that Lakshmi is Radharani in Vaikuntha. We should not think something bad or something. When Krishna is doing Lila in Vrindavan, there Radharani is there and Gopis. And when Krishna is Narayan in Vaikuntha, then Radharani is Lakshmi and Sita to Ramachandra, like this. Krishna has unlimited pastimes. So in unlimited pastimes, in different surroundings, different moods, his servants also, they are appropriately doing. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates saw such impudence exhibited by the maidservants of the goddess of fortune, they covered their faces with their hands and began to smile. Sarup Damodar said, "There is no egoistic pride like this within the three worlds. At least I have never seen or heard of it. When a woman is neglected and disappointed, out of egoistic pride, she gives up her ornaments and morosely sits down on the ground, marking lines on it with her nails. This happens. I have heard of this kind of pride in Satyabhama, Krishna's proudest queen, and I have also heard of it in the gopis of Vrindavan, who are the reservoirs of all transcendental mellows. But in the case of the goddess of fortune, I see a different kind of pride. She manifests her own opulences and even goes with her soldiers to attack her husband. It's a different lila. Here also we have to understand this is not like ordinary woman and these worldly things. This is all part of their transcendental pastimes. Those are real. That is reality. This is a real thing. What we are experiencing in this world under the influence of Maya, that is perverted reflection of that thing. That is reality. And here they are doing everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. Even this, like egoistic pride, everything is for the satisfaction of Krishna, not any selfish purpose. This is one kind of service. So here we see women, they will give up opulence, but with Lakshmi just the opposite. When she's angry, she's taking more opulence and showing her power. She brings soldiers to attack her husband. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, please tell me of the varieties of egoistic pride manifested in Vrindavan. Swarup Damodar replied, the pride of the gopis is like a river flowing with hundreds of tributaries. The characteristics and modes of love are different in different women. Their jealous anger also takes on different varieties and qualities. It is not possible to give a complete statement about the different types of jealous anger manifested by the gopis, but a few principles may serve as an indication. Then he is explaining about different types, but we don't have time to go all this, and this is also not so easy to understand, and we are not to discuss these things in public. This video will go on YouTube. We are not allowed to do this. To speak about gopis' love and these pastimes in public is prohibited because people will misunderstand. Those who have no faith, and anyone can come in public place, so those who have no faith, actual transcendental understanding of Krishna and who are the gopis, who is Krishna and everything, they will think this is some man-woman relationship, and they will get opposite conception, and they will think we can also do that, we can imitate like this. So this is not for public discussion. Only those who are qualified devotees, they may discuss these things in private, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also did, only with his devotees, personal associates in private. So he is explaining, and also there will be explanation of the difference of opulence in Vaikuntha and opulence in Vrindavan. Upon hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy, and being absorbed in this happiness, he embraced Swarup Damodar Goswami. And then he is further requesting him to explain about Radharani. That is also very confidential, so confidential that Vyasadeva did not write her name in Bhagavatam. Whole Bhagavatam you will find her name is not mentioned, because considering the qualification of people, indirectly he mentioned only, not directly. So we should not take this very easily and become like a Sahajiya, think this is very cheap and mistaking transcendental for material and imitating and all this. So when Swarup Damodar was explaining about the glories of the gopis, then Srivas Pandit, he told to Swarup Damodar, my dear sir, please hear. Just see how opulent my goddess of fortune is, means Laksmi Devi. As far as Vrindavan, as opulence is concerned, it consists of few flowers and twigs, some minerals from the hills, a few peacock feathers, and the plant known as gunja, some berries like red color. When Jagannath decided to see Vrindavan, he went there, and upon hearing this, the goddess of fortune experienced restlessness and jealousy. She wondered, why did Lord Jagannath give up so much opulence and go to Vrindavan? To make him a laughing stock, the goddess of fortune made arrangements for much decoration. Then the maidservants of the goddess of fortune said to the servants of Lord Jagannath, why did your Lord Jagannath abandon the great opulence of goddess of fortune, and for the sake of few leaves, fruits and flowers, go see the flower garden of Vrindavan? Or here Swami Maharaj added, Srimati Radharani. It is not in the verse, but he added. Your master is so expert at everything, but why does he do such things? Now bring your master before the goddess of fortune. In this way, all the maidservants of the goddess of fortune arrested the servants of Jagannath, bound them around the waist, and brought them before the goddess of fortune. When all the maidservants brought Lord Jagannath's servants before the lotus feet of the goddess of fortune, the Lord's servants were fined and forced to submit to Laksmi. All the maidservants began to beat the Ratha car with sticks, and they treated the servants of Lord Jagannath almost like thieves. Finally, all of Lord Jagannath's servants submitted to the goddess of fortune with folded hands, assuring her that they would bring Lord Jagannath before her the very next day. Being thus pacified, the goddess of fortune returned to her apartment. Just see, my goddess of fortune is opulent beyond all description, Srivas Thakur said. Srivas Thakur continued to address Rup Damodar. Your gopis are engaged in boiling milk and churning it into yogurt. But my mistress, the goddess of fortune, sits on a throne made of jewels and gems. Srivas Thakur, who was enjoying the mood of Narada Muni, thus made jokes. Hearing him, all the personal servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began to smile. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told Srivas Thakur, my dear Srivas, your nature is exactly like that of Narada Muni. The Supreme Personality of Godhead's opulence is having direct influence upon you because he is devotee of Narayan. Bhajamana Narayana Narayana. He is chanting. Sarup Damodar is a pure devotee of Vrindavan, Lalita Saki. He does not even know what opulence is, for he is simply absorbed in pure devotional service. Then Sarup Damodar again start to explain about the opulence, sweetness of Vrindavan, about water and all these things. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these discussions about the pure transcendental mellow of Srimati Radharani. Absorbed in transcendental ecstasy, the Lord began to dance. Sarup Damodar was singing, and thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstatic love was awakened by hearing the songs of Vrindavan. In this way, he inundated Jagannath Puri with love of Godhead. Finally, the goddess of fortune returned to her apartment. In due course of time, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was dancing, afternoon arrived. Then it is mentioned here that all became tired already, all devotees, but Mahaprabhu would double in his chanting and dancing, and Nityananda Prabhu, and he was so absorbed in the mood of Radharani that his face became just like Radharani. And seeing that, Nityananda Prabhu had to stay little distance because he is Baladev. At that time he cannot go near Radharani. So how Kirtan will stop? Then Sarup Damodar requested Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that all devotees, they are very much tired. Then Mahaprabhu came to external consciousness. So then he took a bath and like this. So this festival of Hera Pancami or Laksmi Vijay, victory of Laksmi, is happening today in Jagannath Puri after Ratha Yatra. So we are remembering this pastime. Then Jagannath will go back. So I am bowing down to Lakshmi Devi and Jagannath, And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his personal associates, they are witnessing this lila and getting transcendental bliss. I'm praying for their grace. Tomorrow we'll further hear Srimad Bhagavatam.